Yo, what's good my fellow Magic Knights? It is your boy DEADMANVINCE back with yet another Black Clover mobile video. Hope everybody has been enjoying the content, hope these videos have been helpful to you guys, and I hope everybody's been having fun with the game. I know I have. Today we're going to be talking about team building basics and just kind of going over some basic tips that I think would help you out in your gameplay experience, because I feel like a lot of people have not necessarily covered like these little details that I'm about to talk about today. But before we get into the video, if you guys have been liking the videos, you can go down below and smack that fat old like button, and you can also that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that every single time I drop a video, you have direct pipeline access to that new information, making you even more of an arcane stage Magic Knight. But guys, let's go ahead and get into team building. So if we come and look right here, we can actually see that all of my units are not worked on it. I do have all 41 of the characters. I do just want to flex that real quick because that's all it is. It's just a flex. It doesn't matter that I have all 41 characters unless I do something with them, right? But basically the main team that I have been working on right here, and this is going to kind of go outside of my well, not outside of my recommendation, but I recommend multiple different teams, I guess, for like the start of the game. But basically, I'm gonna just go ahead and let you know what I was focusing when I was building this team was more so a burn through everything type of deal. I wasn't looking for any like healer or any support or anything like that. I was actually just looking for a speed reduction so I can get more turns in, and high damage so I can kill as fast as possible. So Lotus and Yami are the two main stars of this team. I originally in my reroll video just said, I don't know, choose who you want and just kind of see how you feel about each character, because I just didn't know how the characters were exactly going to be when the game dropped. So my new viewpoint on it is either reroll for Lotus or Nozel, but probably more so on the Lotus side, because Lotus's basic attack actually does hit every unit and it actually does reduce their speed. And if you can get his LR skill, he like every extra little skill that you get for Lotus, it kind of just increases his own speed or decreases enemy speed in some way, shape, or form. So Lotus is a very good like selection to pick at the beginning of the game. Yami sadly is not in the reroll banner, but as soon as you get out of the reroll banner, you actually can summon for Yami right afterwards. And Yami and Lotus are like kind of like my dynamic duo for this team, because they both have AoE basic attacks that help me to burn through content a lot faster. Now let's talk about the guys attached to him. We have Jack attached to Yami here, because Jack naturally does not have an AoE on his own, but if you actually link Jack up with Yami, their skill turns into an AoE, which gives pretty much an extra AoE attack on the field that can hit all the enemies at one time. Plus Jack has his own buff that increases his speed and I believe his attack power, and he can get some extra turns in himself and kind of like do some good damage to the enemy. Actually, Jack was the lowest level on my team because I had finally gotten to a point where all three of these guys were level 100 and Jack was only level 82. But once I got Jack up to level 100, his damage actually scaled out pretty nicely, and he hits pretty decently. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to say like pretty hard, and I don't want y'all to expect to like go into an event and he's just nuking everything. But if you properly build him with his buff and then hit with the ultimate, then probably you could nuke something. But you got to fully build him out for that, right? All these things that we're talking about is under the assumption that you can properly build out these units. But basically, when I'm doing my team building, anytime I run this team everywhere. But whenever I'm running missions, you'll notice a few things. I have Mars over here actually on the side, all the way at the end by himself, only beside one character. There is one specific reason that I am doing this, and I will go over it right now. What I'm trying to do here is prevent splash damage from hitting as many, pretty much minimizing the splash damage that I take if I were hit by a spell that had splash damage. Now, what do I mean by splash damage? Let's actually take a look at Gordon and talk about it. So if we look at Gordon here, we can actually see his skill says that it hits an enemy initially, and then after it hits an enemy, the move shoots out and hits the enemies to the left and right of that enemy that it just hit. So if you have your tank on the side here at the end, that means that if somebody like Gordon were to attack Mars with his skill 2, only Lotus is getting hit, right? And I'd rather take Lotus getting hit than Lotus and Yami getting hit, or Yami and Jack, or whoever the combination is. But I'm also running them in these little sets here because, as you can see right in between, this is a little blue link beside them. You can see it says perfect partner. That means that the two characters actually do have a skill together. And one thing that I've been learning a lot is that units that have perfect pairs or perfect partners with each other, they actually synergize really well. I'm pretty sure Nozel gets extra effects that he procs if you're attacking an enemy who's already debuffed. But Fuegolian actually has it to where he can burn enemies in a lot of different moves in his set, and whenever they're burned, he procs extra effects from them being burned. So Fuegolian is already debuffing the enemy, and that's already making Nozel and Fuegolian stronger. Also, one thing that I actually would recommend is probably having like a healer. You could probably, honestly, realistically, I would say run like 2 DPSs, 1 support, 1 healer or something like that. Or maybe you could have 1 DPS and like buff them up with multiple supports, 1 like defensive support, 1 like offensive support, something like that. But like realistically, if I was going for like a team that was like a good team or something like that, I'd probably run like a rotation along the lines of like Noel, or not rotation, but like 1 pair would be like Noel and then Mimosa, because they have a team skill together. They're gonna synergize really well. Mimosa has the heals, Noel has the barriers, and honestly, I want to put this team together now that I'm talking about it and describing it so much. And then the other side would probably be like Yami and Jack or something like that. Just 2 high DPS units that I can use to burn enemies, and 2 other support characters that I can run on the other side to keep my team alive. That team does feel pretty balanced there. Like I said, have gone with a more so offensive kind of like standpoint where I'm just trying to burn through everything. And yes, this team's health will get low sometimes because these are not the most offensive of units, but with Mars taunting enemies and giving himself Fortify level 3 on his ultimate, he can actually tank a lot of damage. I actually went into a PvP match where the team was stronger than me and they almost killed me, but Mars had tanked out most of the damage. Then he eventually dies, but I had gotten the enemy team's health so low that I could kill them off after Mars had died 1 by 1, kind of picking them off. So be very careful about how you construct your teams. Also, to each their own. You can build whatever kind of team you really like, but that is kind of like my recommendations. Either you go all out damage and be strong enough to burn everything as fast as possible, or you want to go healing with damage and utility, so you can be all around balanced, so that you can have a much more versatile experience playing a lot of different missions, so that it's not necessarily, oh, I gotta burn them as fast as possible. If I don't burn these enemies down, then it's over. No, it's more so like I can wait it out. I can wait for this buff to go away. I can hit him here. Boom, that enemy's dead. This enemy's not getting healed anymore. So you can be a lot more tactical with it, depending on how you want to play. But one team I don't recommend is like the turtle tank team, because a lot of these events, these enemies, you do gotta like burn them down fast. Like I said, that's why I value Yami so much. That's why I say that these two are like the prime like duo, right? Because literally every rotation that I go in, first attack, Lotus basic attack that lowers enemy speed, second attack, a slash attack from Yami that hits everybody and causes bleed. From that point on is Jack, and then that point on is Mars, and with Jack I can boost his speed and get him to hop in another turn before the enemy real quick, and with Mars I can taunt to make sure that every other unit's not getting their asses blasted. But that's essentially kind of like what I had for team building. This was a lot shorter of a video. I just kind of wanted to make that little fact about the spread damage being known and how you should be placing your tanks and kind of like what roles I think you should have on your team. But if you guys did like this video, please do go down below and dark cloak that subscribe. You can also hit that like button, and you can also leave a comment and let me know, did you feel like this video told you enough? Do you feel like I need to elaborate a little more? And if you feel like I need to elaborate a little more, then let me know exactly what you want me to elaborate on. But that's going to be it for your boy DEADMANVINCE. I hope that you guys do enjoy this content, because I appreciate you guys watching this content. And that's going to be me signing out. Peace.